Everyone at school knew Dona Vera. She always arrived at 2 in the afternoon, pushing her worn aluminum cart through the side gate. The clatter of the wheels on the asphalt was like a bell announcing that recess was about to get special.
Brigadeiro for 50 cents, Beijino for 40, Cocada for 60.
The prices were handwritten on a yellowed cardboard sign, taped to the side of the cart with masking tape. Kids would run towards her as soon as she appeared in the schoolyard. Dona Vera would smile, always patient, even when 10 little hands stretched out all at once, asking for sweets. Her floral chintz apron was always spotless, as was her gray hair pulled back in a low bun. She wore gold-rimmed glasses and spoke softly, making the children lean in to hear her. What no one knew was that her humble cart held a secret. Dona Vera wasn't just the school's candy seller. She was Vera Santos Silva, the owner of the largest chain of confectionaries in the city. 15 stores spread across the best neighborhoods, each one raking in millions a year. Her fortune was estimated at 80 million Brazilian reals. It all started 40 years ago, when Vera was just a young single mother trying to support 2 small children. She made candies at home and sold them door to door. Her first cart was bought with money borrowed from a neighbor. Her first recipes were from her grandmother, written in an old black-covered notebook.
Success Camesloli.
First, a little stall at the market. Then a rented spot downtown. Soon, customers started asking her to open in other neighborhoods. Vera never refused to work. She slept 4 hours a night, woke up at 3 in the morning to supervise production, and visited all her stores during the day. At 65, when she could have been retired enjoying her grandchildren, Vera made a decision that surprised her entire family. She said she wanted to go back to her roots. She bought a cart just like her first one and chose Santos Dumont Municipal School as her spot. Not by chance, it was the same school she attended as a child, where she took her own children decades ago. Every day, after spending the morning managing the empire she built, Dona Vera would swap her business suit for slippers, put her jewelry in the safe, and head to school. There, she wasn't the executive feared by competitors. She was just the grandma who made the best sweets in town. The teachers found her dedication odd. Dona Vera could easily hire someone to do the job, but she insisted on going herself. She knew each child by name, knew who preferred Brigadeiro, who only ate Beijinho, and who saved up coins all week to buy a cocada on Friday. João, 8 years old, was one of her favorites. His parents were separated, and he lived with his grandmother, who received only a minimum wage pension. Every Tuesday, he'd show up with exactly 50 cents, always asking for the same Brigadeiro. Dona Vera would always put 2 in the bag, saying it was on promotion. Maria Eduarda, 10 years old, was the daughter of a wealthy family from the upscale neighborhood. She arrived at school by car with a driver, wore designer sneakers, and carried an imported backpack. But in front of Dona Vera's cart, she was just like any other child. She'd ask for cocada and talk about her new doll, while Dona Vera listened attentively. One day, the school principal, Professor Carmen, decided to investigate. She found it strange that a woman of Dona Vera's age would subject herself to such heavy work every day. She did some online research and discovered the truth. Vera Santos Silva, the wealthiest woman in the city, was selling sweets at the school out of passion. Professor Carmen was shocked. She decided not to tell anyone, but couldn't contain her curiosity. One afternoon, after the children had left, she approached Dona Vera. "Can I ask you a personal question?" Dona Vera smiled, continuing to clean her cart. "You don't have to work, do you?" There was a silence. Dona Vera stopped cleaning and looked at the principal. "Professor Carmen, I built all of this by selling sweets. I started with a cart just like this one. These children remind me of when I was young, full of dreams. When I see the sparkle in their eyes as they taste my sweets, I remember why I started all this." She paused, looking at the empty schoolyard. "Money is a consequence. What drives me is seeing happiness. And there's no place in the world where I see more pure happiness than here, selling Brigadeiro to children."
Professor Carmen understood.
From that day on, she began to see Dona Vera with different eyes. Not as the candy seller, nor as the millionaire businesswoman, but as a woman who never forgot her roots, who never lost her simplicity despite all her wealth. The children continued to rush towards the cart every afternoon. For them, Donna Vera was just the grandma with the tastiest sweets in town. And perhaps that's exactly how she wanted to be remembered. The secret remained between the principal and Donna Vera. Because some stories are more beautiful when they remain simple, when greatness hides in humility, when success is measured not by what you have, but by what you give. Donna Vera continued to arrive at 2 in the afternoon, pushing her cart. The clatter of the wheels on the asphalt continued to be the sweetest bell at school.
Trattino basso 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 tra